Hey folks, just wanted to do a quick intro to my video. I hope you watch the whole video right to the end. I put in a little extra piece towards the end about the lost generation. So if you get a chance, please watch it to the end. And I hope you have a wonderful day. So please enjoy the video. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I welcome you. If you're returning, I welcome you back. Today I wanted to touch on a subject that came up in some comments when I was posting about baby boomers. You know, there are several living generations, and I want to explain them to you. While I enjoy a pipe. Now, for many of you who may be new here, or maybe don't know of this topic, I wanted to go through the list of generations and explain to you further about some of the aspects of these generations. So we'll touch on the generations first. So the greatest generation, these are people that were born between 1901 and 1927. So they would be between the ages of 94 and 120. And I do know some people that are at 105 or 106 right now. So it is possible. The silent generation, born between 1928 and 1945. These folks would be between the ages of 76 and 93 years old. The baby boomer generation, of which I am a part of, born between 1946 and 1964. These folks would be between the ages of 57 and 75 years old. So let's take a break here while I relight my pipe, and we will continue. Generation X. Now these are folks that were born between 1965 and 1980. These people would be between the ages of 41 and 56. Millennials. These folks were born between 1981 and 1996. They'd be between the ages of 25 and 40 years old. Generation Z, or if you're in Canada, Generation Z. Born between 1997 and 2012. These people would be between the ages of 9 and 24. Now, have you heard of the new one? Generation Alpha. These people were born between 2013 and 2024. And they would be under the age of 8. But now, I want to actually talk about some highlights of each generation. And of course, I do have notes. I must say it is a beautiful evening. The sun is slowly going down. What a great evening for a pipe and to chat with you folks. Now, the lost generation was named after a remark by Gertrude Stein that she made to Ernest Hemingway, who used it as an epigraph in his novel, The Sun Also Rises. I just happen to have a copy of this book. It was released or published in 1926. And in it, Gertrude remarked, "You are all a lost generation." I have an extensive collection of books, novels, short stories, and the like. Are you folks avid readers? I have published a couple of books myself, novel and a short story, and I do enjoy reading. Let's continue. The Greatest Generation was named by journalist Tom Brokaw in his book, The Greatest Generation, which is still available on Amazon, by the way, which celebrated the cohort that heeded the call to fight in World War II. The Silent Generation, the eldest of which grew up during the Great Depression, lived through World War II and fought in conflicts in Korea. Baby boomers. During the post-World War II baby boom, the United States experienced 18 years of elevated fertility rates. The number of births between 1946 and 1964 were over 78 million. So of course, that influenced companies and businesses and industries who came out with new products to market to the parents of these new babies. Generation X. Writer Douglas Coupland famously named Generation X, and his novel, this generation had a stereotypical Gen X slacker ethos. Are you a Generation X person who doesn't like to necessarily work too much or kind of slack off, take life easy, just let things ride? Millennials. While boomers are the only generation that has a singular event to define their generation, millennials come close. Most millennials were between the ages of 5 and 20 when the 9/11 terrorist attacks shook the nation. And many were old enough to comprehend the historical significance of that moment. While most members of Generation Z, or Z, have little or no memory of the event, millennials also grew up in the shadow of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, which sharpened broader views of the political parties involved. Interesting. Generation Z. Many millennials grew up alongside the internet. But for Generation Z, this technology was there from the start. They are the first generation to grow up with the internet as part of their daily life. They are always connected. All this working, shopping, dating, making friends online comes at a cost. But there's the flip side to all this connectivity. Gen Z is coming of age in a time of pandemic, climate crisis, and global wars, says consulting company McKinsey. Unfortunately, Generation Z has the highest prevalence of mental illness. Generation Alpha. Experts put the beginning of Generation Alpha at 2013. Although this is the youngest generation, they have power beyond their years. They shape the social media landscape, our popular culture influences, that's true, the emerging consumers, and by the end of the 2020s, will be moving into adulthood, the workforce, and household formation, ready or not. And as a bonus, have you heard of the term latchkey kid? A latchkey child or latchkey kid is a child who returns to an empty home after school or any other activities, or a child who was often left at home with no supervision because both their parents are away at work. The history. The term refers to the latchkey of a door to a house or an apartment. The key is often strung around the child's neck or left hidden under a mat or some other object at the rear door to the property. Now, this term probably predates 1942. So, let me close my notes. I guess in conclusion, I just wanted to do a video and talk about this, maybe get a conversation going. Have you folks experienced some of these truths, opinions, and the like? Have you know, I'm a baby boomer. My wife is Generation X. So, what are you? Are you in your 70s, 80s, 90s perhaps? Or are you 20 years old? Leave a comment. Let's have a conversation. And no, I don't inhale. I occasionally enjoy a pipe. This pipe is actually full of cherry tobacco that I purchased here on White Avenue, which is a trendy hipster type destination here in my city. I do have an extension collection of hats. This is a Trilby hat, most notably worn at horse races, especially in the UK. So, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this little educational video, I guess. This information is not coming from me directly, it's coming from the research that I've done. So, I am going to call this a video. If you enjoy this kind of content, please let me know. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, ring that little notification bell, and you will be notified whenever I make a new video. So, until then, I have to relight my pipe, and I am going to go and enjoy the rest of my evening. And I hope you do too. Have a good one. God bless. Oh, just a short bonus. I wanted to mention the term the lost generation. These folks were born in the late 1880s and they came of age in the 1920s. So, the lost generation, you've heard of them. The 1880s, depending on who you were, but it was a glorious time for some people in the United States. This was before income tax, and I think it was called the Gilded Age, 1870s and throughout. Now, this whole video was based on the United States of America, but for you folks in the UK, the great United Kingdom, Britain, You had the Victorian era, followed by the Edwardian era. So I just wanted to mention that as well. I really enjoy and I really like the Edwardian era. It was a time of hope, possible prosperity, new inventions were coming along, and all that great stuff. It was before World War I, so it was a time when folks thought that the world was going to be a glorious place. And then, of course, the horrors of World War I, the war to end all wars came about. Then you had the Roaring Twenties. A lot of time. But anyway, once again, cheers. Good night.